All right, lads. All right, lads. We are live. What is up? We're doing an early one today. Got a few plans on this evening. A few things I want to do. So I'm doing this one a little bit earlier than now. I've been saying that the last few weeks. They've been normally about like 6 or 7. But yeah, this one's in the 5 region. So I'm going live real early for about an hour and a half or so. We'll see how we get on. Had to get something on to talk with. So Fury is saying, make sure that sound is on. Is that sound on okay? I'm doing this stream in a different room. I'm doing it in a completely different room. I'm doing it in my bedroom for a change. I have it like set up here, and I know it's echoey. So let me know if that sounds all right before we do anything. Before we get some people in the chat. First question I see is about Don King and Stavern. Big up to Rich. Big up G-Man. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Big up to you, man. Stavern versus Brian. What did you think? Yeah, I watched it. Oh, it sounds good. That's great. Thank you, a mil, for that, box fam. Yeah, I watched it. Oh, lads. How fucking ridiculous, right? How ridiculous is it, right, that Bermain Stavern can fight for a world title? His last win was in 2015 against the journeyman, Derek Rossi. Okay? Back-to-back losses. Not only does he get a world title shot, but somehow, inexplicably, I mean, lads, we ranted and raved. Me, Dell, a few other guys in the YTBC, we ranted and raved that Christopher Lovejoy was ranked in the top 15 of the WBA rankings. He may still be, right? But goddamn, ranking Bermain Stavern 11th? What the hell? I mean, how the hell did... that is just crazy. How the hell did he pop up at 11th in the rankings, having not done absolutely anything? It's mental. In fact, actually, wait there. I bring the rankings up now, right? Because I seen a few people do videos on this. All right. So the WBA, they've updated their rankings, all right? Sad news. Old one shot. They took him out of the rankings, all right? He's been replaced by Otto Wallen. All right, they took Lovejoy out of the rankings and they put Otto Wallen in instead. All right, they've got Frank Sanchez. They've got Philip Hrgovic 13th, right? They've got Philip Hrgovic 13th in the rankings. And they've Bogdan Dinu at 3. And Philip Hrgovic beat Bogdan Dinu in his last fight. No, in the fight, he did beat Bogdan Dinu, didn't he? Not in his last fight, but he definitely beat him. Lads, I really don't know what to make of that. They've got Stavern, as I said, number 11th, Caballel 10th. How the hell? Chris Arreola. How is he 9th? He hasn't won a fight in a couple of years. When's the last time Arreola won a fight? And he's in there at number 9. Charles Martin, Kalnacki. Jesus, people. When is the last time Arreola won a fight? I'll get to your questions now in a sec, but I just want to actually check this. When is the last time? Because he's ranked number 9 here by WBA. When's the last time he won a fight? I've got BoxRec opened on a spare tab. 39 years old. Going on, he'll be 40 this year. Fuck. All right, so what the hell? Like, Chris Arreola, right? He's not won a fight since March 2019. And his last fight was in August 2019, and he lost to Adam Kalnacki. All right. But yet he's ranked 9 by the WBA, ahead of the likes of Michael Hunter, Philip Hrgovic, Frank Sanchez, and Otto Wallen. And Ajay Caballel. I mean, you just can't figure these guys out. Oh, lads. What do we do? Benjo, big up. Anyone have a stream for Liverpool? Have you tried First Row Sports? I'm pretty sure you'll get it on that. It can be a bit buggy, but all one word, First Row Sports. I'm sure you'll get it on that. In fact, I'm pretty sure you will. A big up to Benjo every time. G-Man's Rocks. Guys, anyone knows streaming websites for West Ham? Got someone desperate to see it, and my Sky Sports app ain't working. Yeah, I was watching a movie earlier, and the Sky Sports app on the Xbox was acting like a little, I'll try and keep it nice and polite. It was acting up, I could insert something a little bit ruder, but yeah, it wasn't exactly. Yeah, First Row, all just like that. Anytime. But yeah, I think they give you like every football. If you filter for football, they'll give you like every football game that's going at the minute. So you might get some duds, but I'm pretty sure. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee you'll get West Ham versus Liverpool in that. Definitely. Definitely. Yo, big up to Dan. Yo, G-Man, going for a walk. Thanks for sharing my vid last night. Yo, big up to Dan. Lads, Dan has a channel. And he doing a good live stream last night. He was doing... I didn't stay up for the whole thing. I passed out after about 2 o'clock. But, yeah, big up to Dan. That was a good stream you done last night. So big up to you. Go for a walk, man. I'll be here for the next hour or so. So we all good. But going off the rankings, going back to this question. Lads, Trevor Bryan, right, was what, 270 pounds almost. Him and Stavern were the exact same weight, right? Now, right, Stavern is 42 years old. He's looked terrible for years now, right? And yet he was able to go 11 rounds with Trevor Bryan. And Bryan didn't look great. I think the weight had a lot to do with it, right? But the weight had a lot to do with it. But Bryan didn't look great. Lads, if that Lovejoy fight had happened, I'm telling you now, Stavern would have won that fight. That is just how poor Christopher Lovejoy actually is. If the Stavern fight had happened, Lovejoy versus Stavern, definitely again, Stavern would have won that fight. Seriously. That is just how poor Christopher Lovejoy is. And my God, I mean, those WBA rankings, I've seen... Believe you me, I've seen some crazy rankings at heavyweight over the course of all the sanctioning bodies, but that one really, this one takes the biscuit. This one takes the absolute nail on the head. This is the G. This is the top one. I've never seen it as bad as this. Seriously. I mean, how did they justify that? Did they just put like, you know, like a random, you know, shuffle for your iPod where you just shuffle the songs and be like, just put the names all around? I've never seen a WBA ranking as bad as this. I'll just bring, like, wait there a sec. I'll even screen share it with you guys. We'll really have a nice little laugh over this. Wait there a sec. Yeah, there we go. I mean, look at this. So super champion Anthony Joshua. Manuel Char is the champion recess. Gold champion is Robert Helenius. I thought the gold champion was Joe Joyce, and he's not even in the rankings anymore, because he was like their gold champion after he beat Stavern. Bryan, interim champion. Thought he was the regular champion. Usyk second. No issue there. Dinu third. Wilder fourth. Ortiz fifth. Andy Ruiz, former champion, sixth. Kalnaki seventh. Charles Martin eighth. Ariola ninth. That is just messed up, lads. That is just messed up beyond belief. Wonder if I cancelled that. I hope. Yeah, I have. Oh, lads, what do you do? Yeah, big up the Troll Network every time. The last Yoda, Stavern is a fat blob. I seen him share a pic on Twitter a couple of months ago, maybe a few weeks ago. I seen it definitely be shared that he weighed in, like he weighed himself, and he was on a scale, and it said 241 pounds, right? I don't know how some of these guys, they must mess with these. The only thing I'm thinking of is you can mess with scales. Like I remember being weighed once, going back about 2-3 years ago. I was seeing if I could get on weight because I was trying to do, and I didn't have any fights lined up, but I was trying to see if I could do 75 kg. And I remember getting the weighing scales, just the normal weighing scales, putting it down. Me and just me jocks stood on the scales, and I was actually like underneath that. I was like, about 3 kilos under 75 kg. So I was happy. I was delighted with myself. And I remember being like, holy shit, like I could probably even go lighter. And then I said, wait a minute, I had this on a carpet, like a big rug. And I was like, I wonder if that makes any difference. So of course I take the scale off the rug, and I think I was like nearly 80 kg. I was like, holy shit, that's what you call messing with scales. I had it on, just literally had it on a rug that kind of lifted it a bit. And I think I was like 8 or 9 kg lighter than I should have been. And I was thinking, holy shit, like, because I was actually, at the time I was trying to like cut the weight down, like as in like eat right. Like I've never been fat, but I was like, holy shit, I must be doing real well. And then I was like, nope. It wasn't any of that. It was just the fact that it was on a carpet, a big rug, and it just pushed the scales up a little bit. So obviously messed with the weight. I reckon that's what some of these fighters do when you see them on scale. You literally like, because they're just taking a picture of the scale, right? They're not taking a picture of where it is. So I found that out just at home through chance, that if you put a weighing scale, even a normal weighing scale, on a rug or a carpet, it'll give you a lighter weight. So I reckon Stavern probably did something like that, because how do you gain all that weight? And bear in mind, right, he obviously would have started camp a lot heavier than 267. They both would have. And they only had about 5 weeks to train for this fight. So God knows what they were actually weighing. Andy Ruiz versus Stavern. Well, if you had a prime Stavern, that's actually quite a good fight. Because Andy Ruiz, that's actually quite a good fight. If you had a prime Bermain Stavern, that'd be actually a decent little scrap. Because Andy Ruiz will come forward. Bermain Stavern is terrible at hunting the fighter down. He has slow feet himself, bit like Andy Ruiz. Not as fast hands, but he's a bigger. That'd actually be a decent fight if they're both in. Like, if we had like a prime Andy Ruiz, which we may have or may not have, God knows. But if you had actually, like, you know, a prime Stavern, that's not a bad fight, Troll Network. Big up to you, man. That's not a bad fight. I'd actually lean towards. No, I would. I'd go with Andy. Ooh, prime for prime. I would go with Andy Ruiz, prime for prime, if it was in their prime. But that's a good fight, Baz. That's a good fight, man. Yeah, Bogdan Dinu. Bogdan Dinu was third in the WBA rankings, above Deontay Wilder. I don't know how the hell they could justify that, man. And I'm sorry, I missed a few comments. I'll go back and I'll read them. You know, big up to BK. Lads, if you could, as BK himself says there, if you could hit the like, I'd much appreciate that, lads. Thank you. If you could. Big up to Ra, hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Big up to Jared Thompson, man. Appreciate you all locking in. Yeah, weird. It is. It's crazy. Yo, big up the Box fam. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. You always got to get that in there. It's amazing Don King still has pet. You know what, right, Benja? I always thought it was the WBC who we had his close relationship with. I know with Jose Sullivan, that was like, they were like best buds. Jose Sullivan, Mauricio Sullivan's father. I know they were like best buds back in the day. So I genuinely thought that was like, that was, you know, it was WBC, but obviously he still has some clout with the WBA. I mean, how in God's name you could do it and you didn't think the card would happen? Honest to God, right? I didn't think the card would happen at all. Like, and this sounds fine, thanks for that. Yeah, honestly, I really didn't think the card would happen at all, to be honest with you. I mean, this is Don King. It's 2021. I mean, he couldn't put cards on when things were normal. And now you're talking like now. I mean, Jesus Christ. The commentary was not great. Was not great at all on it. They got Stavern's age wrong. They had him down as 40. It was a mess. And I think, like, originally there was like 5 or 6 fights planned for that card. I think only like 3 went ahead. I think literally 3 went ahead, and you could have paid 13 quid for that. It's crazy. Helene, big up. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Good evening, good evening. Good evening to you, my man. How are you keeping? I hope you're doing well. Hope everyone in the chat's doing well. Unrivaled did great commentary on it. Yep. He said Brian looks like a big version of Fanon. Yeah, big up to Mark, actually. Hope he gets into the chat at some stage. Big up to Rockstar. Tyson giving his pal a bit of a kid with the Canelo prediction. Probably will age as well as picking Charles Martin to beat AJ. Yeah. Nothing will top that. And there's nothing going to top that prediction. The man who walks the earth like a god. Did anyone see Charles Martin say that he was going to, if he fights Deontay Wilder, he's going to target the lump or the dent in Deontay Wilder's head? You know, the dent that they were able to pick up from the... Do you remember Marcellus Wilder when he was on about the dent in Deontay's head? He said that was what the autopsy showed. He had an autopsy. Deontay Wilder had an autopsy, according to Marcellus Wilder. Big up the Tins. When will One Shot get his shot? Boogeyman at the heavyweight division. I am dying to see him in the ring, live and in flesh. He done a call out. I follow him on Instagram, and he done a call out today. He made a video, and he said that on May the 4th, right? He's giving you plenty of notice. He's like Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, them all. On May the 4th, I'll be ready. So plenty of notice now. He's giving them like 4 months notice. He'll be ready in 4 months for anyone. All right, that's what Lovejoy himself has said. Who's your favorite boxer of all time? It's got to be Christopher Lovejoy, hasn't it? No, honestly, Jody, who's my favorite fighter? I have lots of favorite fighters, mate. Honestly, I have lots of fighters that I like. I'm trying to think. That's a tough one. Like, if you were talking favorite, like, probably be looking at guys like Roy Jones, Jack Dempsey, kind of guys like that. I couldn't probably give you an accurate favorite. Like, I love Nas. I loved a lot of them. I love a lot of them. I like a lot of boxers, man. So I couldn't really give you an accurate say, like, this my definite favorite. Big up to TT. What's up, people? It's G-Man's Rocks in the house. Yes. Big up. WBA. Yeah, man. Their rankings are absolutely crazy. Oh, man. I heard the plan is Dino versus Ortiz. Oh, good luck with that. Even now, Ortiz would still have an easy time with Dino. Ruiz versus Arreola. And then Ruiz versus Ortiz in a possible eliminator. Jesus, man. I can't understand. Like, just why don't they just make it? Like, why are they ranking these guys so high? And like, Michael Hunter down the far end, like below the top 10, and he is a boogeyman in the heavyweight division. I really think Michael Hunter is very good. Did I see Plant fight? Yeah, I did. It wasn't compelling viewing. I actually thought he'd stop Caleb Truax, to be honest with you. I really did. Caleb Truax, he only got hit. He only landed 40. What did he land? He only landed like 47 punches in a 12-rounder, which is quite good. Like, you know, Plant is elusive. He can move all right, but he marks up so easy. You just feel like if someone put the pressure on him, you like look at him against Zeus Katsguy. I remember that fight at the time. I picked Zeus Katsguy to win that fight, and you know I was wrong, got that wrong. But Plant, when I watched that fight, I was like, yeah, he won. He definitely won the fight, but he's definitely not as good as people make him out to be. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but I will confidently, like as Plant is fit, I will confidently pick Canelo to beat Caleb Plant. In fact, I'd pick Dave Benavidez to beat Plant. Fairly straightforward. Who else? Geez, there's a good few. I was going to say I'd probably pick Callum Smith, but maybe not. Maybe I would give him the edge over that. Yes, Stavern nearly became a 2-time heavyweight champion. I mean, that just shows how obscure that regular title is. I consider that bloody Frezekendo is still in, like, you know, not in the rankings anymore, but they're still talking about Frezekendo, you know, going through the course trying to get his shot. It will be 7 years this summer since he last fought, and he lost against Shigayev. That was a close fight. It wasn't a great fight, Shigayev versus Akendo, but it was still close. That was over in Chechnya. I remember one of Hatman's old videos when Lucas Brown got popped. Now, these are allegations, and he said that in the video, but I remember him saying that Akendo's team were actually threatened because Shigayev is like best buds with the president of Chechnya, and like he's a pretty scary guy, it has to be said. And they were like, if you knock out, you know, Ruslan or something like that, you ain't leaving Chechnya and stuff like that. And they had their passports withheld, and yeah, a lot of stuff was said, alleged to have been said anyway. Yeah, the scales must have been faulty. Yo, big up to Chris, Broken Nose Boxing. Good evening, G-Man. Yo, big up to you, man. Every time, lads, if you haven't, check out Broken Nose Boxing. 60-second predictions, all that good stuff. Big up to Chris. G-Man, what do you think of Ricky Burns gets so little credit for the only British 3-time champion? Yeah, Ricky Burns like was decent back in the day. Like, he was never the best. I think probably because he won his titles. Like, remember who he won his lightweight or super lightweight title against? Some Italian guy he ended up stopping. I forget the guy's name now. But I remember that it was like he got these like pretty reasonably straightforward fights, you know. He had that, was it a draw? It was a draw against what's the guy's name? Can't fucking think of it. It was Beltran. But to be fair, like look at the performance he did against, put it like this, right? He done better against Terence Crawford than both Amir Khan and Kell Brook. And that was at lightweight. You know? Now, fairness, Crawford wasn't at his peak then, but still, done a lot better than other people did. Even worse troll network here, Ruiz is fighting Areola. Yeah, that's just bullshit. That is just crazy. I reckon that, it has to be said, like people were saying that those rankings, a lot of PBC guys are in them WBA rankings. And when I look at it, who is in it? Like you got in the top 10, you've got Kalnacki, Martin, Areola, Ruiz, Ortiz, Wilder. Yeah, you do have a lot of actual PBC fighters in that top 10, it has to be said. And considering there's guys like Joe Joyce missing from there, I mean, like, come on now. Big up to Dean every time story, guys. Big up to you, man. Eddie Hearn said there's a pay-per-view on in April. I guarantee it's Josh Warrington against Kanzu for the regular title in Ring Magazine. Yeah, that regular title doesn't mean jack anything. There's a pay-per-view on in April. It'd have to be Josh Warrington, wouldn't it? Would that be a pay-per-view? Like, it's a great fight. Don't get me wrong, it's a great fight. But really, is that pay-per-view? Seriously? Who else does he have? No, yeah, that's... Do you know, right? We are going to get this year. We're getting White Povetkin on pay-per-view. That's fine. I don't mind that. As long as the card's not looking amazing, but we're getting that on pay-per-view. So be it, right? We're getting that. We're definitely going to get, if they both win, they're going to do Ben versus Kelly on pay-per-view. Mark my words. They're doing that, definitely. It won't be in April, but they're going to do that. Mark my words. They'll do Kelly versus Ben on pay-per-view. Wait and you fucking see. They'll definitely do that for like a British title or something like that, which is... It's just crazy. Like any kind of decent domestic scrap they can do, they're popping it on pay-per-view. Stavern has 2 pronounces Areola. Back-to-back wins over Areola, actually. Mr. S, big up. Been thinking the scales at recent DAZN shows have been convenient, as in the main event, few fighters that both happen to have exactly this, happen to weigh exactly on the limit, despite looking vastly different. I've seen that before. It's amazing to me how certain fighters do it, to be honest with you. Certain fighters, like, they're just constantly, they need to weigh like 118, bang, 118, 118, 118. They can just bang on do it. Big up to Byron. G-Man, what do you think of White bringing in Shadow Knight? Hey, look, I think that's a good move. He needs all the experience he can get in the corner. I mean, Shadow Knight was with Lennox Lewis pretty much his whole career. I think that, look at this, right? When he went with Mark Tibbs originally, right? I remember looking at Mark Tibbs, but put it like this, right? He went from Jonathan Banks. And in fairness, right, with Jonathan Banks, you were always going to be second fiddle to Klitschko, because Klitschko was still active at the time. In fact, Klitschko had only just come off losing to Tyson Fury when the last fight with Jonathan Banks happened. And I noticed with Jonathan Banks, White seemed to be sitting down more in the shots. His jab had more authority. When I saw him go with Tibbs, although Tibbs has been good for Dillian Whyte, he was almost like he was fighting like a welterweight. And I think Isaac Chamberlain alluded to this too. He's friends with Dillian Whyte. And he said that he was trying to fight like a welterweight when he's actually a heavyweight. He's not sitting on his shots enough. He's not throwing enough shots. And like, you kind of see that look at someone like Peter Fury, where he trains a lot of heavyweights. He prefers training heavyweights. You know, with these trainers who train a lot of heavyweights, they train their fighters different. You can't just take a heavyweight and be like, right, I've got like this big stable of fighters, going from like bantamweight all the way up to like, I don't know, super middleweight. This is how they train. You come in and you train just like them. You can't do that. You have to train these heavyweights slightly different. They're just not going to reciprocate the same way as you would, a lightweight or someone like that. So I think it's good. I think Xavier Miller, maybe he just feels that he needs that little bit more help in the corner. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look at Ben Davison when they had Freddie Roach as the cut man in the first Deontay Wilder fight. I mean, like, you really want Freddie Roach doing your cuts? Seriously? I think that was a little bit more just support there in the corner. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like, when I heard Freddie Roach was doing cuts, I was like, really? Do you really want him doing your cuts? I mean, could you imagine if they had Freddie Roach in the corner for the Otto Allen fight? That fight would have definitely been stopped. Big up to Darren. Actually, wait, 24 Warrington versus Zoo and Katie Taylor fight, another title fight. Of course they'll do that. I'm amazed they haven't put Katie Taylor out on the Povetkin White undercard. They normally try and always get her on these pay-per-views. I don't know if she'd ever... I couldn't see her headline in a pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Could not see her headline in a pay-per-view. But they'll always get her on the pay-per-views. Eddie Hearn absolutely loves Katie Taylor. He loves putting Katie Taylor on them shows. Katie Taylor, see, she draws the Irish audience. That's the thing about her. Like, if you have a pay-per-view on and you're afraid it's not going to do good numbers, right? A lot of those boys come from Ireland as well. If they put Katie Taylor on a decent fight, the Irish guys and women will buy that. I'm telling you now. Did you notice how the ring didn't even have any sponsors? Don King been boycott. Man, Don King, I'm amazed that fight went ahead, sir. I actually am amazed that card went ahead. I really, truly, even with the weigh-in, I was like, this card ain't happening. This fight ain't happening. In his heyday, King had pulled with all three governing bodies. The WBC, didn't they strip Douglas originally before everything went through and they gave Douglas his title? But didn't they actually were like looking at stripping Douglas after like the Tyson fight because of the long count? It's crazy. Big up to Mark. Why are we talking about Lovejoy? We're not talking about him now. I don't know what it is about that Lovejoy guy. There's something just so funny about him. He's just so funny. The commentary was good as the promotion. Even the website is pony. Yeah, man. Like, even the hotel where they had the card in, they didn't even have it listed. Like, they didn't have it listed at all. That's why I was like, this fight ain't happening. Yo, G, man. Hope you're well, man. I'm perfect. What did you take from Plant's win last night? He looked impressive and getting strong at the way. Yeah, look, I watched it this morning. It was not the most compelling viewing, it had to be said. But I did expect him, and I picked him to stop Caleb Truax. Caleb Truax is normally durable enough. He's been stopped early against Durrell, and he was stopped late by Jacobs, but he's normally quite durable. I did think he's seen better days, though. So I actually thought Plant would have enough to stop him. He didn't. He's good defensively. I'll give him that. He can be a bit sloppy sometimes defensively when he gets tired, but he didn't fight at a frantic pace. I think he only threw like 500 punches in a 12-round fight. And he wasn't getting tagged much. He only got hit something like 40 something. He's elusive. I'll give him that, but definitely not. I definitely won't see. I think Canelo stops him. I think he stops him on cuts or swelling, to be honest with you. Yeah, Deontay Wilder is the only guy to have an autopsy. Seriously. He literally is the only guy in the history to have an autopsy. Marcellus Wilder, that lad, I swear to baby Jesus, he's what, 31 years old. He's a child. Plant looked shit. He didn't look shit, but he looked as I expected him to do. I actually did. I think he'd be a bit more aggressive, but he did as I expected. Lily lad Stu. Cheers, mate. Big up. Plant is used. Canelo will beat Saunders Plant the same night. If you think otherwise, you're a huge casual. I definitely will be picking him over Boat. I think he'll have an easier time. Definitely with Caleb Plant. Definitely. He's stopping Caleb Plant. Enjoy the commentary. Big up to Mark. As always. Lemon Ninja. Let's go, G-Man. All right. Walking Pharmacy Miller versus Andy Ruiz. The battle. Remember that fight years ago? When Miller first came on the scenes and he fought Fred Cassie, they were saying, like, I remember a few people were saying, let's have the battle of the fat boys against him and Ruiz. Do you know what, right? As much as I don't want to siege around Miller again, a part of me does, because if he's clean, and he is genuinely clean and sober, I kind of want to see how he looks, because, like, you're talking about a 300 plus pound man with good stamina, with a high work rate. I mean, obviously that's red flags there. But if you take that away, I wonder how light would he be? Because definitely he's not going to weigh in the 300s unless he's just fat. And will he have the same work rate? I don't think he will, personally. I'd be amazed if he did. I want to see just how bad he is without the juice, because this was not, like I said it before in videos, like this Jarrell Miller, right? This wasn't your just typical, like, Mexican beef or something, or the odd before, or what was it? Povetkin got popped for, Meldonian. Man, this guy was literally a walking pharmacy. He's like injecting himself with stuff, and he's like, I don't know how that got there. Be like that. Do you ever see that scene in Family Guy where the doctor like reaches in to grab a glove, and he's like, "This don't feel like a glove." And he pulls his hand out, and it's full of needles. He's like, "Oh, that's the only way you could explain Miller not knowing that he was injecting himself." The only reason Hunter is so far down WBA ranks is because none of his team can afford those WBC sanctions. Unfortunately, I'd imagine so, to be honest with you. It's going to be hard for him to get a fight, man. A big up to Mark every time. Big up to you, my man. Plant cannot touch Canelo. I think people, I can't see how people give him a chance. I can't see him having a chance against Canelo, to be honest with you. Said in one of your videos that you don't rate Devin Haney. How come you don't rate him? I don't rate him as highly as I rate the other guys in the division. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, no, but who is he beating is the question. I think him and Bill Haney are just annoying. Seriously. That doesn't mean that I think he's bad because I think he's annoying. No, but I definitely think he overrates himself a little bit. I think that I need to see how he looks against someone with a pulse because Yuriorkis Gamboa at this stage, no, man, no, I'm not taking anything from that. Now, if he fought Ryan Garcia, that's a fight I wouldn't mind seeing. It'd be interesting. I'd pick Ryan Garcia, but it would tell me definitely where Devin Haney is. Definitely. And his relationship with Hearn, and he isn't with Hearn anymore, so that bit of relationship is gone. We're talking about Haney's not with Hearn anymore. I think Devin Haney has his own promotional company. To be fair, he's only like 22 and he's already got his own promotional. Yeah, Fresno Kendo, the original WBA darling. It's crazy. He must have some serious sway. Like, as in, like, I'm not saying sway as in, like, they like him or anything like that, but whatever court thing he's going to take, he obviously must be in the right 100% because otherwise WBC would have just said, right, we'll go to court then. Good job. We've all got an opinion. Otherwise, there'd be no point of discussion. All have an opinion on it, man. All of us do. That's what the whole point about opinions is. Stavir hasn't had a win since, I don't know how, I honest to God, like, I don't even know how he got think of it like this, right? He hasn't had a win since 2015. He had a win against Derek Rossi, and that was good enough to make him mandatory for Deontay Wilder. I mean, like, come on now. That's just crazy, man. Oh, big up to Tony every time, man. I don't know, because the StreamYard won't show it, but whatever you put in there, big up. Big up to you, man. Do you think Plant will fight Canelo? I have my doubts. He'll definitely fight, man. Like, I've no doubt in my mind. I mean, they want that Canelo payday, and if you beat Canelo, then yeah, you're doing well. Don King is hell. Don King. I've been doing a bit of research on Don King. Not going to spoil anything, but I've been researching a bit on Don King. One and only reason, Don King. Corruption, yep. Yeah. Ricky got a gift decision. Yeah, he lost that fight clearly. Good old Ricky Burns, roller coaster career, really nice lad. That's one thing about him. He does seem a cool guy, Ricky Burns. I give him that. You know, he actually is genuine. Holy shit, I missed a lot of comments. Apologies, people. But Duke McKenzie's a three-weight world champ too. Now, Ricky Burns is cool. He is a cool guy. He's definitely seen better days. I mean, he took an L against Lee Selby in his last fight. And I've never really rated Lee Selby too highly. I mean, I remember when he beat, what's the guy's name? Yevgeny, whatever. I forget the guy. He won the title off. People were high on Lee Selby. I was like, nah, man, this guy is. Well, that guy was shot to pieces who we fought. But I've never been too keen on Lee Selby. I've always felt like, you know, he's a decent boxer, but I think he gets a little bit too much credit for some of the things he did. And you're losing to him, especially he's not really a lightweight. So that's why I was like, nope. Ricky Burns needs to. And I think Ricky Burns, he hasn't fought since then, and that'll be 2 years this year. So I think Ricky Burns is, I think he's on his way. I think he's on his way out now at this stage, man. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong, but I think Ricky Burns is pretty much, if he's not retired, we're not going to see, he may only see him in one more fight. But he is a cool guy, Ricky Burns. I'll give him that. He's done well for himself. What the fuck? Thought the stream lag there for a sec. See, I'm doing this in my bedroom, and the Wi-Fi is not as good up here as it is in my living room. if Dave Allen ever returns to the ring again, Jesus, bro. I don't want to get the stream taken down, so I'm not going to read the rest of that. Jesus. I reckon Dave Allen will. I reckon he will. But Jesus. I know he's not likable, but Jesus, bro. Jesus, I don't want to get the stream taken down. I'm not going to read the rest of that. Watch a Fury video. Let's be real. He was getting the excuses ready. I watched a bit when he was on about Billy Joe, but we have to see Garrett A. Davis. Garrett A. Davis actually he's not too bad. He's not too bad. I remember they had him on the DAZN feed when Garcia was fighting Campbell. Garrett A. Davis. He reminds me of someone, but Garrett A. Davis. I know the guy, but who the fuck? He reminds me of someone. I think Plant is sweating Benavidez. Yeah, I mean, I would confidently pick Benavidez to beat Plant easily. Who's worse for corruption, King or Heyman? Definitely King. Definitely King. Definitely King. And yeah, he did. He's killed 2 people. So he has 2 people. They'll have to stack that Warrington card to make sure. Definitely they'll have to stack it. I mean, they won't. I don't like it when they do this, but they probably can get away. Well, they can get away with having the Povetkin white card, maybe not as strong. They can get away with that because many of us will be tuning into that for the main event. I know I certainly will. So they maybe can get away with having that one not as strong as, you know, the rest of the cards. But if you're putting on Zoo versus Warrington, it's a good fight. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a fight I want to see. But for pay-per-view, they need to make sure that card is good. They need to make sure that card is really good. You know, big up to Graham Taylor. Hit the like, folks. If you could, lads. If you could, I'd appreciate it. One sec. Right. I just had to unplug the heat. I've got heating in the bedroom as well on. Can never escape it. A smoker fight, camera, you mean? A smoker fight off camera, you mean? What? I don't get. Maybe I'm ready. Fury would need a tune-up fight before AJ Fury. He's been inactive for 12 months. That's the worry. That's the worry for Fury, right? That's the worry for Fury. If this fight happens in June, then he'll be out of the ring for what, 14, 15 months, maybe more. Might not have the sharpness there. Might not have the sharpness. But at least with Fury, at least with AJ, he got that fight with Pulev in. He got that fight with Pulev in. So that's the one thing for Fury, the inactivity. Don't think you got my areola jokes. It's the skin surround. Oh, jeez. Oh, right. I thought you were just saying that he beat Areola. I didn't get it. I definitely didn't get the areola joke, Benjo. Definitely didn't get the areola joke. What time's the Wilder fight? I don't know. Whenever it gets announced, bro. Whenever his next fight gets announced. I'll pick up the AA boxing blunts. Remember Eubank Jr. had Ronnie and Chris Sanger in his corner and no one spoke? Yeah, I remember that, man. Eubank Jr., back when he started out, right, he would tell Ronnie Clark, was it Ronnie Clark or what was his name? Yeah, it was Ronnie Clark or something like that. He would tell him to shut up in between rounds. And the guy's like, and that was during the Billy Joe fight. The guy's trying to give him advice on like how to get like through the 12 rounds, how to box this, how to do this. And like he's telling him to shut up. And Chris Seneca, he's Lee Selby's manager. I mean, he's done a cracking job. Chris Seneca. AJ and Fury both a few fights away from the end of their careers. Do you know what, right? I wonder how long, like say Fury wins, right? Say Fury beats AJ, they have a rematch and he beats him again, right? Realistically, what do you think he's going to do? Is he going to like stick around and just wait for, you know, someone else to come along, or, you know, wait for these up and coming guys or fight Usyk? Or do you think that he's just going to turn around and be like, look, I've done everything I need to do. I beat Deontay Wilder. I beat Klitschko. I beat AJ. He will have made, like, imagine 2 fights, the amount of money both guys will get paid. Do you really, like, I could maybe see the loser sticking around and maybe trying to, regain that title, one last time. But in terms of the winner, I'd be very surprised if they stick around for long after that. Well, we'll say 2 fights. Might get a trilogy. You never know. But Jesus, had to turn over Mike Perez anyway over it. Mike Perez, Jesus, what's he doing these days? Sweet all. Robert Garcia said he won't train big men. 147 is preferred preference as they can do the same thing as bar together. Yeah, I mean, like when you start swapping it up, you need to change everything for you can't, as far as I'm concerned, right? If you're a boxing trainer, you need to be versatile. And what I mean by that is you need to, train more than one style. You can't just have like Abu is a good trainer, but he has a one style that he puts on his fighters. Like, this is the style. If you do that, not every fighter is going to reciprocate it. But if you just train one set of fighters, so you're just right, I'm training all these welterweights, I'm doing well, and then I get this heavyweight come in, and it's all right, now you got to fight like this, and I'm having him on the bag, doing sprints on the bag, doing this. It's it's just, no, you need to train the heavyweight completely different. So if you want to be a whole trainer, this is just my opinion, you need to be able to know, right, for this fighter, this is what I'm going to do. For this fighter, this is what I'm going to do. Because it's the two different. You can't train. Remember Isaac Chamberlain when he lost to a collie? Obviously, he got held a lot in that fight. But he came out and talked about him training with his uncle, what his uncle was doing. He was having him, basically train like a welterweight. And Isaac Chamberlain, as we know, he's a small cruiserweight, but he's still a cruiserweight nonetheless. Can't do the same training. So you'll end up overtraining. And then you end up literally leaving it all in the gym. So as a trainer, you definitely need to have the wherewithal to know, all right, my guy here is a welterweight, he can do this, but this other guy here is a heavyweight, he ain't going to be able to do this. So I need to be able to do things differently. And I read that already. Where else do we go? I know I'm missing an absolute load in the stream. Hearn fancies Katie Taylor, I can tell. God knows. Someone told me that Katie Taylor is seeing her trainer now, which is okay, fair enough. Dude has the worst resume at 168. He's definitely not got a strong resume. Although he used Cascai way, he's useful, to be fair. At least he was anyway. Glad you find something funny about Lovejoy, because I do. His Instagram is silly. Yeah, he is just. He's the ultimate chancer. He is such a chancer, though. I mean, literally, he built up his resume. And if you go on his Instagram, he said 19-0, but the goal is 51-0. I mean, you could easily think of it like this, right? If he can fight 3 times a month easily in Mexico, if you're getting these absolute cab drivers in there every single week and they're given no resistance at all, you could easily fight them. You could easily get a 50-0 record, no problem. Certain fighters have done that. Jermaine Franklin is fighting on Shields. His opponent is shocking. Jermaine Franklin. Oh, is he the heavyweight? I think I've heard of him. I think he's the heavyweight, isn't he? I know there's a Jermaine something in the heavyweight division. He's not that good, to be fair. Not hate for Plant, just cold hard facts. He's going the same way as total hype job. Callum Smith, steal a world title. Smith was the worst champion at one. Well, Smith definitely had an easy run to it. I mean, look at that World Boxing Super Series. Look how easy he between the Skoglund was all right. But then he got a guy on 5 days' notice when he was meant to fight Bramer. Bramer would have given him some problems, I reckon. Lovejoy's the boogeyman. Yeah. He's definitely the boogeyman of the heavyweight division, all right. Definitely the boogeyman. G-Man, what do you think of a Collie versus Glowacki? I think it's going to be a snooze fest. I think a Collie's going to win, definitely. But I think it's going to be an absolute snooze fest. I think that he's going to tie him up. And that's really it. I think that's all it's going to be. I think he'll tie him up and stop him. Glowacki's definitely seen better days at this stage. But I think a Collie's going to win. Definitely. But I don't think it's going to be compelling viewing. Not in the slightest. Big up to Michael Van Gerwen. What's up to MVG? LG, man, did you see the Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallen fight in the amateurs? No, I didn't see that. I've seen a few of AJ's. I seen him fight Big Sexy Sean Turner in the amateurs. I've seen that fight. I haven't seen many of Anthony Joshua's amateur fights. I've seen a few. I've seen his fight against Savon. I've seen a few of them. Big up to Mark. What's up, Mark? That's why I like Salah. Trains Joyce, Ugas, and Ioka. Like, look at that. Look at that, right? Heavyweight, welterweight, and a super fly. And Ismail Salah, he's great. He's a good fit with Joe Joyce. I think that Joe Joyce, the worst trainer for Joe Joyce, the worst I seen him look was when he was with Adam Boot. And that's no disrespect to Adam Boot, but I just think that Joe Joyce, no way was that a good fit for Joe Joyce and his style. Not a hope in hell. I think that Salah is, although Sanchez wasn't, I didn't think he looked bad under Sanchez. I didn't think he looked bad under Sanchez, but definitely under Salah, it's better. Definitely. Canelo stopped silly Saunders late to the body. I'm gonna pick him on points, definitely. Canelo on points. Oh, WTF coming up. Man, I watched Don King Exposed the other night, and that was in the 90s or early 2000s. I think it might have been the 90s. And there was loads of Don King then. And there's a lot to look up on Don King. A hell of a lot. I'm enjoying it, though. I'm enjoying it. Only dude from UK who could mix it on the inside was Carl Froch. The rest are snipers, fighters, Mexicans, walk through them like butter. I'd still pick Canelo to beat Carl Froch, though. Carl Froch was a warrior, though. He was a warrior. For all the silly things he says, Carl Froch was a great fighter. He really was. Gareth Davis is like, yeah, he does. He looks like someone else. There's someone he reminds me of. Like, someone from UK, like TV. But I can't think of the name. I honestly can't think of the name, but he reminds me of someone else. He does remind me of someone else, though. Bit harsh to say that about Alan, but I strongly suspect, I'm not. People know how I stand on that. I'm not going to talk about you know what. You know what. Did you hear about Ortiz versus Hooker? Yeah, that's a good fight, man. Maurice Hooker versus Virgil Ortiz, man. I think Virgil Ortiz is absolutely fantastic. I really do. I think that guy is going places, man. He is going to do well. And I definitely think he's beaten Virgil Ortiz, or he's definitely beaten Maurice Hooker. I think stylistically, it's a good fight for him. I think Virgil Ortiz is very good. I've been watching him for the last 2 years, and every time I see him, I just think he's just like, yeah, this guy's just getting better and better. Billy Joe has stated he wants to fight in March before Canelo. What do you think Eddie Hearn sorting Canelo with a fight in? Billy Joe wants to be active, which is good. Even if they gave him like a 10-round or run around or something like that, that wouldn't be too bad. Who would you give it? Who would you put him out there with, though? That's the thing. Like, you don't want to. Like, how would you feel like if Eddie Hearn decided, okay, let's put him in there with someone 10-rounder, and we get like a lackluster Billy Joe, and he ends up maybe having a draw or something like that? You take a bit of a risk with that, but hey, if they can get him out on a card or something like that, like maybe put him on the Povetkin White undercard, you'd really want to make sure it was someone that you wouldn't risk an injury with. But if he wants to get out, hey, I'd watch it. But they definitely wouldn't want him defending the title or anything like that. There might even be, maybe even Canelo has some stipulation that he can have the interim fight, but Billy Joe won't. But the more active he is, the better Billy Joe is, definitely. I think one of them will get injured going into the fight in some way, Fury or AJ. Well, the longer they leave it, the more it favours AJ, personally. The longer they leave it, just in my opinion, the more it does favour AJ, because the more you leave it, the more time out of the ring Fury is. I think the longer you leave it, the more it favours AJ. Big up to Will. Fury said he wants reign like Klitschko. He was on about fighting all contenders and even going on to defend his title against up-and-comers like Dubois, Ajagba, etc. I wonder, would he, though? Maybe he will. Maybe I could be completely wrong. Anyway, I just don't. I think the winner of that fight, or a winner, if they have 2 fights, they're probably not going to stick around. But they might have one. Do what Lennox Lewis said he'd do: become undisputed, make it a 1 defense, and then call it a day. Yo, big up to D. Speak your mind. Sports talk. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks. Big up to you, man. Every single time. Big up to D every time. Thank you for tuning in, mate. Thank you for tuning in. You think, yep, I'm thinking that he's got, see, for all of Akali's doesn't have that many, well, he does. He's a few flaws there, but he's strong at cruiserweight. He hits hard at cruiserweight. He's physical, but the minute he goes to heavyweight, boy, I think he is going to get lifted off the ground. I'm serious. I think he is going to get lifted off the ground. That's just my opinion. Could be completely wrong. He could go up to heavyweight and do well, but that's just what I think. I thought he looked worse under Sanchez. Really, Stavern was in slow motion and was touching him up when he was fighting Sanchez's style. So maybe I think though, with Sanchez, for me, from the unseen eye, he looked better with Sanchez than he did with Boot. With Adam Boot, I was looking at him, I was just like, oh no. Oh no. G-Man, is Salas and Roach only teaching made in the boxing? Some good trainers, but a lot of pad men. Yeah, I think that Virgil Hunter is good. I don't see much of Virgil Hunter these days, though. I don't know whether his health. I know he had a bit of a health scare. Way back, like 2 years ago now. So I don't know. I think Virgil Hunter is good. I think that some trainers do rely too much on the pads. I don't know why, but the pads. When I would train in boxing, I didn't mind doing them, but I definitely prefer the tried and tested hitting the heavy bag and shadow boxing personally. That's what I'm thinking. But look at Manny Stewart. Very seldom you saw him do the pads with fighters. Manny Stewart was just more, and when he did, he never moved forward. He always just held the pad. You punch right through it. Like I remember I saw him with McClellan on the pads in the 90s, and it was just you punch through this pad, and that's that. Salas is definitely the coach that Joyce has worked with. I feel like under Sanchez, Joyce looked sloppy and got hit too much. I definitely think he was hitting harder, but just from my eye, it looked like he was hitting harder under Sanchez. That's one thing Sanchez does well, is that he seems to be able to get these guys to hit very hardly. Look at Gassiev. Gassiev didn't have near as many knockouts until he started working with Sanchez. Then all of a sudden, he was knocking guys out left, right, and center. I think with the technique Sanchez teaches, he gets these guys hitting real hard. Big up to George C. Even the G-Man in the chat wasn't impressed with all with Plant. Maybe my eyes went after the Stavern fight. Michael Coffey and Armani Rock. Yeah, Armani Rock looked like an absolute blob in there. He really did. And hashtag G-Man's Rocks, as always. Put Saunders in with mandatory. Zach Parker. Oh, yeah, I'd pick him over Zach Parker in an instant. I think Zach Parker is way too raw. I mean, like, he fought that. What was the guy's name? Rowan Murdoch. That shouldn't have been an eliminator. Definitely not. I mean, that's how some of them eliminators can kind of screw you over, because you get an easy eliminator, you get a world title shot before you're ready. I definitely don't think that Billy. Yeah, maybe that is the fight. That if you've done a 12-rounder with Zach Parker, it go to full 12 now. But I'll be picking Billy Joe over Zach Parker, definitely. Definitely. Froch it is. I'd have picked Carl Froch over Billy Joe. Certainly at super middleweight. It's just too big. Billy Joe was not the biggest super middleweight in the world. Did you hear about Demetrius Andre activating his mandatory for 168 if Canelo wins against Billy Joe? I wouldn't even rule it. I'd say I can't see him fighting Liam Williams. Can't see it. Don't believe anything Fury says. We got to listen to Fury on it. Yeah. Listen, Fury could turn around one day, right? And these got it here, right? And Fury's these guys. Fury could turn around one day and say, I want a title reign like Vladimir Klitschko, where I want to rule for 10 years. The next interview he gives, I'm going to beat Anthony Joshua, and then I'm going to retire. You just can't figure him out. So you take everything he says with a pinch of salt. Always, always, always. Every single thing Tyson Fury says with a pinch of salt. I saw on BoxRec Murata vacated the belt. Is that true? I don't think Murata's vacated. I think he's been elevated to super champion because he was regular champion. I think he's super champion now. So God knows what that means. For the regular title, hopefully it goes they just bin it, because they need to bin that regular belt. God damn, that regular belt is ridiculous. I doubt Billy will have a run out. Yeah, I doubt it myself now, to be honest with you. Put him in someone who's similar size to Canelo. And Zach Parker's like, what, 6'1"? So yeah, I doubt that very much. I couldn't see it. Yo, big up to Judge Durham. Big up to you, man. What's up, Mark? Gee, man, I rewatched Usyk versus Bellew, and the intro hits very different when you hear the re-signing and defending and the reigning and defending undisputed champion. I immediately get nerves hearing that. Yeah, I haven't watched that fight back, but when you do hear an undisputed champion, it just, man, that's what you want, man. Like if Josh Taylor fights Ramirez and he does one fight, say in Scotland or something like that, that'd be unreal. Saunders and his Wilder type resume. Saunders' resume, it's not amazing, but it's not too bad. Like it's definitely not as bad as Deontay Wilder's resume was. You know, it's not too bad. Like Andy Lee, all right. Andy Lee was decent in his day. He wasn't amazing, but he was decent. Lemieux, I mean, it was mandatory. Willie Monroe, contender. You know, it's not amazing, but it's definitely not horrible. It's not horrible. JPK World, big up yo G man, 2G man. Give Billy Joe someone to fight like Anthony Durrell or someone good. Another where he's huge favorite. He wants to beat Canelo. Yeah, Durrell's seen better days, definitely so. But he can punch a bit. Remember that. For all his flaws, he can still punch. Eddie puts Katie Taylor on pay-per-view cards because their fights are cheaper compared to men's person. Yeah, they definitely are. I tell the story. I said it once. I'll say it again. When she fought on the Broner Garcia undercard a couple of years ago, her purse for that fight was $4,000 because they published the purses, and Katie Taylor made $4,000 for that fight, which was crazy. And she's making a lot more now, definitely, but still, $4,000 was all she was getting paid. I think that was like her fourth pro fight. $4,000, man. Can you imagine? Put it into context, right? Tyen Boot could do like what, 2 live streams in a week and make close to that just from super chats. Big up to Tyen Boot. I was watching some of his videos last night. Oh man, Tyen Boot, he is just, it's just funny. I was watching some of them old vids last night. They are just funny. Like the one where he talked about Coogan getting too arrogant. That video was just funny. That video was just funny as hell. Just remember, Saunders will pull off what I believe with a world-class performance. How many do we have in the chat? Right, we have 58 people in the chat. Right, they questioned all you guys. Who do you think will win? And by what merit? What are you picking for Billy Joe versus Canelo if and when it happens? You got Canelo to win or you got Billy Joe? And I want to know by what merit. Pop it in the chat there because I want to know how people are. Is anyone split or does anyone give Billy Joe a crack at winning? Because I'd be interested to hear what you guys think. Because a lot of people are just saying, oh, it's this, it's that. What do you guys think? Canelo, 9th round KO. Originally, I thought maybe Canelo would win by KO, but now I'm in more agreements with like Byron here where he says Canelo on points. I'm thinking Canelo on points. Canelo by KO in the 11th. Okay. BK says Billy Joe. Billy Joe getting a decision is going to be a hard ask. Canelo on points, but I give Billy Joe a decent chance. Judge Durham has got Billy Joe on points. Boxer fan picking Canelo to win late stoppage. Late stoppage, okay. Rixer has Billy Joe Saunders a 15 to 20% chance of winning. Okay. There's always a chance. I mean, believe you me, I've been given odds at like, I've been told by myself like that. I give you the odds of getting this at like 0.0%. I'm like, never tell me the odds because I make a mockery of them every single time. I like the odds. 65 in the chat. Lads, if you could, before you went, if you could, smash the like button on the way in. I'd really appreciate that, lads, if you could. Canelo on points is the likely outcome, but I'd be happy if Billy Joe surprises you. Okay. Certainly see Billy Joe winning early rounds. Then Canelo 7th round TKO. Yeah, the Canelo 7th round TKO seems a pretty similar consensus. It's weird. Canelo wins wide points decision. Michael Van Gerwen says Canelo split decision. I can't see that. If Canelo's getting a decision, it's going to be unanimous, in my opinion. Really can't see that. Canelo by knocking out Saunders. Okay. Canelo on points Yeah, I'm going with that, to be honest with you. Canelo won points, but I see Billy Joe giving him some problems in there. Canelo wins, but a controversial decision. Okay. You see, if you go in there with Canelo, you win and he wins a controversial decision, you could very well get yourself a rematch, which is an extra payday. Canelo on points, but my friend says Billy Joe will win. It only takes a punch. I don't think Billy Joe has the. I don't think he's got the punching power to stop Canelo. To be honest with you, and Canelo's shown to have a good chin. If Billy Joe wins, it'd be amazing. Canelo decision, saying Canelo will get exposed by Billy Joe. I wonder if Billy Joe is still going to do a showboating. Oh, that'd be funny actually if he did against Canelo. Billy Joe wins the fight by 1 or 2 rounds, but he won't get the decision. I think if this fight is close, Canelo will get the benefit of the doubt. But as I said in one of my videos, right? As I said in one of my videos, Canelo's scorecards on the zone have been a lot fairer to the other fighter. Like even when Canelo's won, like I thought he won the fight against Danny Jacobs, right? That no issue with the decision, right? I thought he won it, but the scorecards were a lot closer than they would have been in the past. You know, in the past, look at Austin Trout, right? Canelo, that was a close fight, very close fight. Some of the scorecards were like 118, 109 for Canelo. It was crazy. So the scorecards on the zone, they've been a lot fairer. All right, they've been a hell of a lot fairer. So I think we could, if this fight is close, who knows what we might see. They've been a lot fairer. Canelo on points. I feel his power is overrated. You know, people always say he's going to stop these guys, and you have to remember that the guys have gone the distance 20 times. I think Canelo does have decent power there, though, to be fair. Like, I think at world level, it is harder to stop some of these guys, to be fair. But I don't think I'll be picking him to stop Billy Joe. Apparently, Taylor earned 1.5 million for her last fight. Fair play. Male or female, I like to see these fighters get paid. Fair play to her if she did. She's come a long way from the 4 grand. Too big, too strong for Billy Joe. Billy Joe wins, it'd be an amazing fight. Yeah, I'm missing some of this. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. I think Billy Joe will start off strong, takes the early rounds, but that's about it. I think that seems to be the general consensus, is that Billy Joe with Melanize. What else do we have? If there's anyone to beat Canelo, it's Billy Joe. Well, I give him a better chance than, what's the other guy's name? Plant. I give him a much better chance than him. Yeah, Eubank Lee. I forgot about Eubank. Eubank Lee, Ryder, Lemieux, Monroe. It's not a bad resume. It's, if someone says like Wilder, no, that's a better resume. Definitely. Canelo lost twice to GGG. I actually thought he won the second fight, to be fair. I had no issue with that at all. I had no issue with the decision of the second fight. I scored at 115, 113 when I watched it live and when I watched it again the next day. Big up to Zabel. Monroe and Ryder. Monroe, yeah, is not amazing, but Ryder's not bad. He's improved a lot since then. He makes that win look better. Just to clarify, I don't think Billy Joe will win at all. But if he does, it's going to be a fight that goes down in history. If he wins, Jesus Christ, the celebrations. Could you imagine? Canelo win by a close decision, but Billy Joe will take a moral victory. I see Billy Joe winning the early rounds and mid rounds, being negative at first, but getting gassed in exchanges later after getting gassed. I think Canelo's body work is going to pay dividends with Billy Joe in this fight, to be honest with you. I think if Canelo starts hitting Billy Joe in the body, then definitely we're going to see him tire badly. Can't see Billy Joe Saunders getting the KO. GGG couldn't drop Canelo. No, and believe me, GGG caught him a plenty. He hit him a plenty. Is Josh Taylor fighting on the same date? Well, at the minute, Canelo looks set to fight on the 1st of May, right? They're talking about Vegas if fans are in attendance in some stadium. If not, then Texas or Florida, because they can have fans in. Now, they're talking about Taylor versus Ramirez on the 8th. So the 8th of May. So a week apart. HBO were very pro Canelo. They were, but when it came to Golovkin, both fights, Harold Lederman scored those fights for Triple G. And the first fight, fine, but the second fight, he had Triple G a good bit ahead, and I was surprised at that. Am I saying this, Billy Joe? Billy Joe's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people don't like Billy Joe. I don't really like. Yeah, he's done some dumb things. I won't take that away for a second, but I don't really mind Billy Joe too much now, to be honest with you. You know, I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I don't mind him that much now. Some of the things he does, you do have to ask questions, to be fair. G-Man, who won if they'd have fought in their primes, Lara or Saunders? It would have been a stinker, Ian. It would have been an absolute stinker. Yeah, no, I'd give it to Lara, definitely. But believe me, that would have stunk the place out. That would have been such a negative fight. You've two slick southpaws, both like to get on. That would have been a stinker. Absolute stinker. But I would have given Lara the edge in that. Lara was useful back in the day when he was in his prime. Lara was useful. I give him that. He was useful. I did think Canelo beat him. When I scored that fight, I had it 115, 113 to Canelo, but it was close. Like and subscribe, people. If you could, lads. Be greatly appreciated if you could. If Billy Joe wins, the best victory of a Brit overseas, 100%. Be up there. Be definitely up there. I'd be shocked. I'd be very surprised. Tyson Boot was making less than $4,000 in his early fights. Remember, he said that in one of his live streams that he was meant to fight Craig Richards, and he couldn't. He was too light, but Eddie Hearn still gave him $1,000 just for coming down. That's not bad. That's not bad going. You know, for Eddie Hearn to give a guy $1,000 just for coming down because he couldn't do the weight, and it was because he was too light. He said he was too light. Yo, D, I'd be interested to know who you have. Billy Joe versus Canelo, by what method? Definitely be interested to know your thoughts on it. Who do you have on Wallin versus Brazil? Definitely Otto Wallin on cuts. I reckon he'll cut Brazil. Seems a real slashing puncher, Otto Wallin. Bit like Gene Tunney. Real slashing puncher. He'll open you up. I reckon that's what he'll do. Brazil has he fought since he got knocked out by Wilder? I don't think he has. Matthew Happen probably put the best show against Canelo. That was a very young Canelo, very green Canelo, but yeah, very young Canelo actually. Ryan Rhodes. Who else has he fought? Ryan Rhodes. Matthew Hatton. He fought, obviously, he's fought a good few guys. To be fair, Billy Joe beat what was in front of him coming up, took out from a few good people. The man said, oh yeah, no, Billy Joe done what he needed to do. Yeah, I was going to say, G-Man, never had a controversial card in the zone. Canelo was 1 round off a draw, and if Kovalev won the 11 or 12 round, he would have won. Yeah, like, I'm telling you now, lads, like, we say Canelo gets the rub of the green. And at least when he was on Showtime and HBO, he did, definitely. Got a lot of scorecards that were dubious. But look at the DAZN scorecards. I mean, obviously, the Callum Smith one, he beat Smith from pillar to post. So that was always going to be wide. But the Kovalev fight was real close, and the judges at the time, the stoppage had it like that. The Jacobs fight was a competitive fight. The judges had it close. So definitely for me, at least on DAZN, the scorecards for Canelo, they've been a lot more fair than they have in the past, because in times gone by, I've said it once, I'll say it again, it was not uncommon if you saw a close Canelo fight, and maybe look at Lara, that fight was close. I thought Canelo won, but it was close. But 117, 111, really? And that was on Showtime. You go to the Amir Khan, people complain about that, but I actually thought Canelo was ahead in that fight. I didn't think Amir Khan was on his bike. He wasn't doing a lot. I gave Amir Khan the first 2 rounds in that fight, and that's it. So that fight, I don't really take. But Canelo against Triple G, I mean, 118, 110, really, no way. Not a hope. The second fight was actually, the scorecards were fair, to be fair. But yeah, Canelo's had some very, very dubious scorecards. Even if he's deserved to win, some of them have just been like, what the hell? Canelo UD, yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that, D. I think Wallin stops Brazil on cuts. Definitely. He seems to have just such a... Because he stopped a few guys on cuts, and obviously he's cut Fury up. So I reckon that fight will be won on cuts for Otto Wallin. Just my opinion. Could be wrong. Watch Dominic Brazil come and, you know, spring an upset. Thoughts on Campbell Hatton signing with AJ's management team? I'm surprised. I thought they would have signed with MTK personally. But look, if AJ's managing a few fighters, he's got a colleague, he's got Boazzi, Lad, Dylan White is not a bad manager. That's one thing I'll say about Dylan White. He actually isn't a bad shout for a manager because he's managing a few fighters himself, and Dylan White ain't bad. At least not as a manager. Dylan White's not too shabby. You know, the job he's done in his career, you know, he's done well. He's done very well. Campbell hadn't got beat a few times in the amateurs. He's not a fighter I would get hyped up about. I've never seen him, to be honest with you, in the amateurs. But how often do we see fighters who aren't amazing get shots because, you know, they're related to another fighter? I mean, like, if you look at Conor Benn when he's, you know, obviously Conor Benn's improved, but look at Conor Benn when he started out, how raw he looked, how poor he looked. If he didn't have the last name Benn, there's no way he'd be fighting on small hall shows. If Conor Benn was like not Conor Benn and he was looking that raw, he'd be on small hall shows. So, but the good thing about that is that, like, you get opportunities that, you know, other people don't get, which is fair. But Conor Benn, because he's coming from that, he basically has the opportunity to improve, and he's improved a hell of a lot since then. You know, Conor Benn got one of the worst decisions. Yeah, I thought he lost that fight against what's the guy's name? Oh, what's his name? Payno. I thought he lost that fight as well. G-Man, did you put a fiver? Not yet, not yet. I will be putting it on. I want to wait until that fight's announced before I put the money on it. But for those who don't know, I said I'm just going to chance it and just stick a fiver. I'll take a picture of the slip and put it up on my community tab when I do. But I'm definitely putting a fiver on the draw for AJ Fury. That's not what I'm picking, but you give me a fiver, I'll put it on the draw anytime. Happy. Yeah, damn fool. Foolish the zone strike. I got a strike from the zone. Is slow motion. Is slowing my motivation, my momentum. Sorry, D. I'm all over the shop. I had going, but no use crying over spilt milk. Still streaming daily on the other channel, D and JB's Boxing Cage. Yes, big up to D. D, any word on when we're going to get the streams back on this main channel? You know, I can't always catch your streams, but I love when you do go live. I catch it the odd day from a work or something. Any word on when this channel or when Speaker Mind Sports will be back live streaming? It's just nice. I like either or, but I like it on that channel. I like it on your main channel. Big up to you. Yo, shout out to Cara White. Slightly off topic. Can versus Brooke. What are your thoughts? Do you know what, Cara? I hope I'm saying your name right, by the way, because I know some people spell it differently. I hope I'm saying it right. Do you know what? Back in like 14, 15, I really wanted to see that fight. Whereas now, I kind of do and I don't. Right? I do and I don't. Because I know both guys are coming to the end of their careers. And I know both guys aren't as good as they used to be. And to be fair, sometimes that can make for really good fights. Like when you have two guys who are near the end, it genuinely can make for really good fights. So I kind of do in that sense. But I kind of do. Like maybe it's I don't know why. Maybe I do. I say sometimes I say like I don't, but then I think about it and I think back of maybe it's the nostalgia of like 2014, 15, thinking the boxing, you know, back then and being like, oh, how good would that have been? And be like, and then I kind of think, do you ever have this happen, right? And I'm going off topic here, but you're the one who asked me this question, so you're the one that made me go off topic. All right. Do you ever get when you look back at like a really shit job, right? And you think like, oh, but do you remember like how good it was? Because like it was like you're not looking at the job, you're looking at like the time itself. Like I go back to 2013, I was like 18, I worked in a chemist and I fucking hated it. But I used to look back and be like, oh, I missed that. I was only looking back because I really liked what was going on around at the time. So you kind of look at it with rose tinted specs. But in response to your question, I'd still watch it. Definitely. I'd still pick Kell Brook to win, even now. The build-up would be funny. Look, to be honest with you, if it was on pay-per-view, I'd pay. Seriously, I'd pay for it. I like Amir Khan, and I will be devastated when he retires. And Kell Brook, I mean, like I've done a WTF video on Kell Brook, so that kind of sums up where Kell Brook is at the minute. If I'm doing a WTF video on you, things are definitely not good. If you're in one of my WTF videos, right, it's not good. You don't want to be in one of them WTF videos, right? Kira? Is it? Oh, is it? Oh, Kira. Is that how I say it? Kira or Kira? Because I was saying Kara, and I'm pretty sure I was butchering that. Kira. So is it Kira, like the name Kira, or Kira? I am butchering your name here. Your last name is easy, but the first name is I'm struggling here. No update until the 2nd of April. Jesus, the 2nd of April. Fucking sucks, but you got to deal with it, man. That's the way I'd be. Like, me and you are similar thinking. If shit happens, look, shit happens. You can't stop it. You can't stop it, man. Shit happens. No use complaining of it. You know what the best thing I learned, right? Back in November, right? I had a really shit month. Really, like, not on YouTube, just in general. I had a really, really, really shit month, right? But in many ways, it was good because it actually kind of gave me, because someone actually told me off topic, but someone was like, yo, Jay, this thing you're doing, they're not talking about YouTube, by the way. They were like, get this out of your head. You're not going to do this. Just accept it. And I was like, that is what I needed. You telling me I can't do it, that's fucking exactly what I needed. I didn't say thank you, obviously, but I was like, thank you for that. I needed you to tell me I can't do this, so now I'm going to fucking do it. Fuck you. So basically, sometimes the bad can be good day. Take the rub of the green. It is what it is. But where there's a will, there's a way. Your boy motivating you. I got our name right. Bingo. So it is. Yeah, you lost me already. I've already forgotten how to pronounce it. Cake. It is Kira, isn't it? It is. I've already forgotten how to pronounce it. I'm Irish. Yeah, you're Irish, my friend. 100% Irish. Born and reared in Dublin. So I said, I'm doing this in my bedroom for a change. I said, I'm not going to come with the lighting in here. It's absolutely crap. It's fucking shit. But I said I do it in the bedroom for a change. So I got the TV in the background. It's like, what time is it there? It's like 1847. But yeah, 100% Irish. 100% Irish. But I finally got it. And then I fucking immediately forgot it. So sorry. I actually seen a comment there, but I fucking forget. I'm losing track of comments here. Oh yeah. Remember when Mosley stopped Margarito? Sometimes Iron Chin fighters get stopped unexpectedly. Yeah. Seen it, man. Iron Chin fighters do get stopped. Like, I wouldn't have thought Usyk would have hurt Dave Allen as bad as he did. But these things happen. You see it. Man. Man, I'm fucking enjoying this chat. It's been fun so far. Yo, big up to Penny. Hey, Mush. Hope you're good. Bit late. I'm completely off topic. Nah, better late than never. Anytime. Will Fury retire undefeated? I'm gonna say yeah. I think he will. I'm picking him against AJ. Just for those who don't know. Helenius has like a 50% knockout ratio. Yeah, but look how slow he is. Like, Helenius hits a lot harder than his record suggests, but look how slow and plodding he is. Like, if you can move against him, you know, you're surviving. He knocked out Kalnaki because Kalnaki stood there with his chin in the air and his hands down, and he just walked onto right hands. Tyson Fury, yeah, like KO percent, like Vitaly Klitschko is like an 88% KO ratio, and Vlad has like a 70%. So, you know, we know who was the harder puncher out of the two. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying, don't matter much, 2 or 3. I probably missed that comment, to be fair. Kira. See, in Ireland, we spell it C-I-R. No, yeah, C-I-R-A-R. So I'm used to seeing it like that. And whenever I see like a K, I'm always thinking like, is it Kara? It's Kira. It's your daughter's name, a beautiful name. My daughter spells it Kira, but pronounces it the same. Kira. Yeah, no, I'm just used to seeing it spelled the other way. That's why when I look at it, I was just like, I'm saying this name completely wrong. I knew straight away I was saying it wrong, but I was like, I'm saying this name completely wrong. I need some help here. Me and names, right, I've always been like bad. Like, I still can't pronounce Obale's name properly. So when I see like people know me at this stage now, they love. Some people actually say they love seeing it. When I see like a name that's really hard to pronounce, even though Kira is not technically that hard to pronounce, but when I see a name that looks a bit off, I'm just like, oh, here, you know. And there's people like I work with, right, who have names that they're not even that hard to pronounce, but they sound very different to how they look. So I end up getting them wrong. And like some of these people I've worked with for over a year, and I still get the name wrong, and I still end up saying like it completely arse about face, if you know what I mean. You're okay, Kira. I think I can pronounce your name. Oh, the struggle is real. The struggle is real, lads and lasses. The struggle is real. Oh, lads. Where was someone asked me as well. Yeah, it will be. That would be absolutely hilarious. The build up for that fight. You're going for the draw. I'm just going for the draw because it's sometimes it's worth. I put it like this, right? I said it on Thursday in the stream I did, right? If you put money, just look, right? I don't drink a lot of alcohol. So like a pint in Ireland is like when the pubs are open, because they're not open now, it's like £5, right? So if I go and want to get a pint of Coors Light, I give him £5. Or I take the £5 back and just say, fuck it, I'll put it on a draw, right? And if the draw comes true, I'm up like £130. I can buy everyone around a Coors Light or some, whiskey and ginger, whichever you prefer. But it's one of the two. It's not getting much more expensive because I ain't made of cash. I ain't forking out any more than that. You get a Coors Light or a whiskey and ginger, take it or leave it. So they're your options. But yeah, why not just stick it on the draw? Like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I know we're all, like everyone is probably feeling the effects of what's going on with the economy. I mean, I'm down to working 4 days a week now from 5, but £5, like, I mean, put it like this. I always say this, right? If there are people who have money to spend on pints of beer, but then they say they don't have money to do this, well, maybe take the drink away, That's why I always be like, people who are like, I've fuck all money, but like I've enough to get pints for myself. And I'm like, man, get your missus something on that money. Don't fucking spend it all on pints, like, or at least if you can afford to get 5 or try and invest it in something or something like that, But he agrees with me. Yeah, a little pep talk from your boy. Little pep talk from your boy. You've been called worse. Yeah, I've been called worse as well in my life. Believe you me. I've been called a lot worse. Believe you me. Happens to all of us. Happens to all of us. Yeah, Penny, go for the whiskey. Yeah, I think I'd take the whiskey as well with a little bit of ginger ale over. But a Coors Light is nice. People don't understand the Irish spelling, like Yogel. I'm probably saying like there's a lot of Irish spellings that I don't get as well. But yeah, it's like can never pronounce it properly. It's always funny when you get someone from England and you show them how they spell the name Owen in Ireland, like Michael Owen. It's always funny because they never can seem to get like how you spell Owen in Irish. They just look at it and they're just like, huh? And it's like it's spelled like Oghan. Whenever you see someone come like that, they're just like, that's not how you spell Owen. It's like, yeah, in Ireland they spell it like that. It's either Eoin or Eoghan. So when they see names like that, they're just like, what? How do you spell that? Or you show them a name like Neve or Siobhan, and they're just like, I can't say that name. It's like, it's actually quite simple, but yeah. Like they see like Siobhan and they're like, is that like she who ha? It's like, no, it's not. Fury made fun of AJ getting stopped by Andy Ruiz, called him fat, kind of rich from Fury, who would rather get stopped by an elite fat guy. Would you rather get stopped by an elite fat guy or outpointed by a British journeyman? I'd rather, if I was in them, I'd rather take the rub of the green and get knocked out by a fat guy than I would against losing to a journeyman. I've seen, like, lads, I've been to small hall shows here in Ireland, right? And I've seen lads, seriously, lads at Irish level top themselves up like, they're the second coming and go in there with, like, there's journeymen you've heard of. And then there's these journeymen. And I'm like, how are you losing to them? I'm like, here, God almighty. Like, there's some small, I remember I went to a small hall show in 2018, right? I seen a lad in the second profile get knocked out in the round by a guy who had like 50 losses. And he went on to fight my mate then literally next year. We were down in Cork. And my mate was like, he was shit. He was like one of the worst guys I ever fought. And I was thinking, remember, I flashed back to that like fight in like, I think it was like October, November 2018. I was like, how the hell did that guy get knocked out in a round by this guy? The same guy. And me and my mate Craig were sitting in the VIP area. The guy who we lost to was sitting there drinking cans of Coke and being like, yeah, I lost, but fuck it. I got paid. I got paid. Yeah. Khan's metal hands versus Brooks metal eyes. He needs the metal eyes now at this stage. Imagine Povetkin getting another shot at 3 beats Dylan White. Can't see it, man. Cannot see it, man. I really, I can't. I can't see Povetkin winning that fight. I had that feel like people. You ever hear like people like I have a book which is actually about intuition. I didn't write it, obviously. I bought it. I've got loads of books in here. Like some of the books I have in this room, like seriously, because I'm in my bedroom, so I have them all here. I've got like loads of them. I'll just show you here. I've got like. You ever do this like 5 minutes in the morning? Like I write that. You write in it, you read it, and you write in it in the morning. And that's 5 minutes in the evening. And that's like 5 minutes in the morning. Got other ones in here as well. I'm like, light is the new black. Actually, really good. It's worth a read. I've got other ones down in my living room where I normally do the videos. But yeah, I've been going way off topic in this live stream. Seriously, man, I'm going way off topic. Siobhan always cracks me up. Yeah, the way people pronounce that name, it's gas. It's fucking hilarious. 100% facts. Where does the word Egypt come from? No idea. But it's an Irish thing. I have no idea where it comes from. It's just driven into you at a young age. Green ale light and ice and whiskey. Green ale light and ice and whiskey is amazing. I'll have to try that when the pubs reopen. I'll tell you one thing. That's one thing I'm missing. Like, I'm not a big drinker, but I do like going out with the lads. And it's crazy. Like, it's just crazy how much I miss it. Tony's asked me a good question there. Yo, G-Man, what's your diet like? I've been eating a load of shit recently, going to sort out this week. I have to agree. I'm normally quite good, but this week I've been absolutely shit. I'll admit it. I had pizza last night and everything. My diet normally, right, I get a lot of meals delivered. All right, I have a guy who delivers me a lot of meals that he makes, and I also cook my own. So I eat a lot of chicken and rice, and my dinner, 9 times out of 10, I literally make pasta with like a piece of grilled chicken. I cut it up and I either put pasta sauce in or I put, pesto. It's like green kind of herb. Put that in and I put some like jalapenos in because I love spice. That'd not be my dinner. And then chicken and rice for my lunch, or tuna for my lunch as well. And then I eat like porridge in the morning. That's literally it. This week, or like the last few days, I've been just having no sugar whatsoever. Like it's hard to stay away from it because it's in most food, but I don't put it in coffee. I drink coffee jet black, and it's acquired taste to drink it without sugar. Believe it or not, best believe it's acquired taste. But I drink coffee black. I drink mint tea. Mint green tea is lovely. It's really good for getting rid of little stuff in belly fat and stuff like that, man. I try and eat as clean as I can. Obviously, it's hard sometimes because obviously I don't always get my shopping, and like I get my shopping delivered a lot, and it's like 60 quid. So sometimes I just have to make do with what I have. I might not have enough to cover everything. So that's when I start having the issues and being like, shit, I have to get something to eat. Because last night I had absolutely nothing in the house, and I was like, right, fuck it, I'm getting pizza. So that was my Saturday in a nutshell. And I'll do it again, happily. Happily do it again. Love the name Aoife. It's a beautiful name. Yeah, Aoife's a lovely name. Aoife's actually a really nice name. Like, I've always said, like, if I had a daughter, though, I wouldn't call her an Irish name. I don't know why. They're lovely names, but I just wouldn't call them. But Aoife is a gorgeous name. I love that name. Seeing some footage of Hatton on the pads, and he looks very raw, I must say. Like, with all due respect, I've seen guys at my gym hitting the pads cleaner. That's what I saw with Hatton. Could have been a bad clip. We see, like, what I have to say about people hitting the pads is it's not always, like, I've seen lads hit the pads look amazing, but then you put them in the ring and they're crap. Like, hitting the pads can be, I wouldn't take it as gospel as to how good a fighter is going to be just by watching them hit the pads. I definitely be a bit more wary about that. I wouldn't look at someone hitting the pads and be like, oh, that's indicative of how they're going to be. No, there's plenty more to go on than just hitting the pads. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'll have to have a good look at Campbell Hatton. I haven't really been watching much of him, to be honest with you. To be 100%, I've not really watched much of him, to be honest with you. Don't allow crap foods into the house. Work for me. Don't ask. Yeah, man. I've always said it, right? I don't understand how they do it. What I mean by that is, like, you say you have some fighters, right? And they like weigh in at, say, like 230. Like, look at Dave Allen, right? When he fought the rematch against Len Roy Thomas, he was in the 230s. That was in March. Come what June, he was like no, not even. Like, he fought in May, I think. He fought David Howe. And he was like 40 pounds heavier. I'm just like, how in God, like, how in the space of 2 months, assuming you're doing a bit of training, how is it humanly possible to put on that much weight? And like, it's not muscle, it's just how, like, I don't understand it. Big up to Kenny. Shout out from Scotland. Yes, Kenny, big up. What do you think of the Plant fight? It was pretty dull, man. Plant did what he needed to do. He did what he needed to do. So, you know, I was happy with that, but he's getting beat by Canelo. Definitely. I've never been as confident as picking Canelo to beat someone as I would be over him beating Plant. Definitely. Your daughter's name's called Aoife. Your daughter's called Aoife. Aoife's a lovely name. It's a lovely name. Don't know many Aoifes, actually, to be honest with you. I think I went to school with one. That's the only one I know, pretty much. Live G, man. Got to make a room, brother. Keep up the good work, D. Big up to you, D, every time. Speaking of mind sports, for the love of sports, let's talk about it. Lads, one question that Drew Stern says, am I going to be covering Bridger White soon, G? No. I don't think we need that division. No. Oh, shit. What did I do there? After messing with the... One sec. After messing with the bloody stream. There we go. For some reason, they just, like, brought the... Yeah, there we go. Brought the stream, like, real fucking close. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, Canelo won the 20 to beat Yield. I don't think there's actually worth value on that. Nope. Not a hope, bro. Not a hope in hell. I wouldn't put money on that to save my life, bro. I wouldn't put money on that to save my life. Give me a sec, man. The fucking PC is being a bit all over it. No. One sec. There we go. Stream was acting perfect, and then all of a sudden they just decided to be like, you know what, and just stop working properly. But yeah, no, I wouldn't put any money on. It's going to be an easy win. It's an easy win for Canelo. The crust over oven pizza. What does that say? Bridger White is a struggle for Taker. Is struggling for Taker's ridiculous. I mean, like, they're putting Isaac Chamberlain at that. Like, he's not a big cruiserweight, and they're putting him in a Bridger White. I mean, that says it all. They are struggling to get anybody in there. New York pizza or Domino's. I don't like Domino's. The pizza I get is just from an Italian restaurant. It's just an Italian restaurant, and I don't really. You see, not last year, the year before, me and one of my best friends. Well, he got a job delivering for them just after work. He used to deliver on every second Saturday and on Tuesdays. And I remember he texted me out of the blue one day, and he was like, "Do you fancy coming for the spin? Just for the spin along with him while he's doing deliveries. He's doing like 3 hours every Tuesday." And I used to just tag along with him. I never really eat. I don't like Domino's. I don't like any real pizzas. But I went along with him for the spin. And I ended up doing it with him every week. Literally, we go every Tuesday. Me and him would go and do the little... I used to just sit around with him, and he'd do the deliveries. I just chill. I was like the sat nav. So like, he'd be like, "This is the address we're going to." I put it into my phone and I do the sat nav. That was my job. And yeah, I never ate pizzas until one evening I had no dinner, and I said, "Fuck it, I'll get a pizza on the way home with you." And it was crazy. It was lovely. And ever since then, I've been like, yeah, that's the only place I'll get a pizza out of. Saoirse is a nice name, I think. Yeah, I'm decent Irish. Yeah, Saoirse is a great name. And it's spelled right. That's it. What's Hurd up to? God knows. God only knows. I never really rated Jared Hurd, ever. Like, I remember when he was a unified champion, people had him in their pound for pound lists. I was like, damn, why do you have him in the pound for pound lists? No disrespect, he could be a nice guy, but Jesus, definitely not in my top 10 or anyone's pound for pound list when he was at his peak. No way. No way. So that was Heard in a nutshell. Lads, I'm going to end this stream here. We've been going for a little over an hour and a half. I'm going to call it quits here, right? Appreciate everyone locking in. I had great. I only planned on doing an hour. I ended up doing an hour and a half. Appreciate you all locking in. I want to big up a few people while I'm here. Big up to Penny. Big up to D every single time. Big up to you, my man. Big up to Will. Big up to Will. Yeah, big up to Will. Big up to Kira. Got the name right. Got the name right. Got it perfect this time. Big up to Kira after saying it wrong for God knows and then forgetting it. Big up to Kira every single time. Big up to Dan. Usyk can legally push because he's not getting step-aside money, even though he was promised. If Usyk doesn't get step-aside money, then Jesus Christ, man. They should give him step-aside money. Big up the Boxing fam. Shout out to you, man. Course Troll Network every time. Hashtag G-Man's Rocks, all that good stuff. Nah, glad he won. I said he's not waiting. Brad, be safe. Be safe. Big up to all you people. Big up to everyone in the chat, man. We had a great one. Lads and lassies, because I got lassies in here too. Likelihood is Wednesday, Thursday. Because I don't work Thursdays. Well, I'm not working Thursdays for the foreseeable future. Is what it is. I don't really mind. I like the 4-day week. If there's one thing I can take from these lockdowns, I'll stick with the 4-day week. Thanks for that. It's not too bad. Top live. Salute to the chat, man. Big up to everyone, lads. Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to record a couple of videos this evening and probably watch a movie. And then we'll see what the week has in store for us. Lads, wish us all a good week. If any of you are going through any shit, hope you get through it. Hope you have a great week. All that good stuff. I remember listening to Tommy Dixon. He was like, if you're in the shit, enjoy it. So if anyone is going through shit, just enjoy it. And if you're not going through shit, enjoy it too. Better times ahead. Big up to everyone, all right? I'll talk to you.